tax freight train is bearing down on your retirement. To protect yourself, you'll have to harness the power of zero.
Hello there, it's David McKnight. Welcome to the Power of Zero show. Grateful that you're with us. As always, this is our 83rd episode. We haven't missed a week since we've started. I am the best-selling author of The Power of Zero, Look Before You Lerp, and The Volatility Shield, and coming soon to a bookstore near you through Penguin Random House, Tax-Free Income for Life. And that will be coming out November 17th, so mark your calendars. It's also going to be available for pre-order very soon, so keep your ear to the ground. If you are looking for an advisor to help you navigate the pitfalls that stand between you and the 0% tax bracket, mosey on over to davidmcknight.com. And if you're an advisor looking to transform your practice into a Power Zero style practice, then you can certainly head over to powerzero.com, opt into our video series. All right, so what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about what is the coronavirus-related distribution, or what you may have heard used frequently, the acronym CRD. So what is the coronavirus-related distribution Roth Conversion loophole, and should you do it? Okay, so first of all, let's talk about what a coronavirus-related distribution is and how you qualify. So basically, a CRD is any distribution by a person who is, one, been diagnosed with COVID-19 or SARS-CoV-2, could be your spouse, or could be your dependent. In addition, if you feel like you've been adversely affected financially or otherwise because of a quarantine, or because of having been furloughed, laid off, given reduced hours, or you couldn't work because your kids were going to school from home and somebody had to stay home and make sure the kids were attending their Zoom meetings and whatnot. These are all things that could qualify you as, as someone who has been affected by the coronavirus as it relates to this particular rule. So we've established who this rule qualifies, and I think that these rules are pretty loose. That's a pretty broad description, and I don't think it's too hard to fit into that. So what does this distribution allow you to do? Basically, what it allows you to do is you can withdraw up to $100,000 from your qualified plan, a 401k, IRA, or other workplace plan. And if you're younger than 59 and a half, so there's two things here. There's two real bonuses here. Number one, if you're younger than 59 and a half, they waive the 10% penalty. That's not a bonus to you if you're older than 59 and a half, because you already had that luxury, right? But if you're younger than 59 and a half, you have the ability to take this money out and spend it and not have the 10% penalty. So that's the first benefit. They waive the 10% penalty up to that 100 grand. The second benefit is that they are going to allow you to, if you so choose, you're not required, but if you so choose, they are going to allow you to pay that money back over the course of 3 years. Again, you're not required to, so it's not like a loan. It's a real distribution, but you can contribute that money back in over the course of the next 3 years. And because this repayment, okay, this re-contribution, as it were, to these plans is not technically a contribution. It's treated by the IRS as a rollover, okay? So you're not constrained by the traditional contribution limits. So you've taken the money out and you have up to 3 years to put it back in, and you can put it all back in if you want. Now, this is where the Roth Conversion loophole comes into play. You can recharacterize this money to a Roth IRA. In other words, when you contribute it back to the IRA, you can technically contribute it back into a Roth IRA. In other words, you can recharacterize this money to Roth money, okay? Why is this a big deal? Well, there's two big deals. Number one, if you were younger than 59 and a half and didn't have the ability to do a Roth conversion because you didn't have money sitting in a taxable account with which to pay the tax. Remember, you can do a Roth conversion whenever you want. But if you're younger than 59 and a half and you try to pay the tax out of the conversion itself, you're going to get a 10% penalty. The IRS says even if you take the money out and you give it right back to the IRS in the form of a tax, if you're younger than 59 and a half when you do so, you get a 10% penalty. Okay, so that's what this provision allows for, is someone who's younger than 59 and a half to take the money out. Okay, you could retain a portion technically for taxes and then put the rest of it back into the Roth IRA. And instead of doing that all in 1 year, you could put it all back in all in 1 year, and then you can pay your taxes out over the next 3 years. So let's give you a little example of what I'm talking about. So let's say you take out $30,000. You're in the federal tax bracket of 24%. You're going to owe $7,200 in taxes. Because you did it under the CRD distribution, or the CRD related, I'm being redundant here, the coronavirus related distribution, you can spread that tax liability out over 3 years. So that's $2,400 a year. So that's not something that you would normally be allowed to do. So what this allows people to do is two things. Number one, if you're younger than 59 and a half, you can take that money out and you're not going to have the 10% penalty. If you choose to put it back in, you can recharacterize it as a Roth, and even better, you can spread that tax liability out over 3 years, whereas normally you'd have to pay that tax all in 1 year. So here's the question. For people who do not have this, who do not fall into the I am affected by coronavirus, is it morally permissible for them to take advantage of this? Well, technically what the IRS is saying is you got to fall under one of those headings. Either you're affected, your spouse is affected, your kids are affected, or you've been impacted in some way financially by the coronavirus. So it's pretty loosey-goosey on the rules. I mean, loosey-goosey, when I say loosey-goosey, I'm talking it's broadly construed, okay? So is it morally appropriate to do this? I would say that the real intention of the program is to allow people that are in financial straits to take money out and to fill whatever financial gap was in their life, right, as a result of the coronavirus. So whatever financial tribulations you're currently enduring because of the coronavirus, that is the real reason that the IRS gave you this sort of leniency, okay? I think personally, and this is just Dave speaking, I think just personally that this is a loophole. And what do we know about loopholes? When they get abused, then eventually the IRS catches on. So I think that the spirit of the law is that you should probably not take advantage of this, this Roth conversion opportunity, because really it's intended to help you out if you're in financial straits as a result of the coronavirus. So I think that you probably should not take advantage of it. If you do take advantage of it, are you going to get in trouble? Probably not. However, remember, the IRS reserves the right to change these things. And if they do see the abuse going on, they could potentially come back and say, hey, all of you guys that abuse this and recharacterize these dollars as Roth conversions and attempted to spread this tax liability out over 3 years, we're gonna force you to pay the tax all in 1 year, or some other alternative that's going to make you feel like you shouldn't have done it, at least initially. So in summary, to sort of bring this full circle, it's technically legal to do it. Okay, it's technically legal to do it. There's a loophole here. The IRS hasn't addressed one way or the other whether you can do it. So technically, you can do it. Should you do it? I would probably say you shouldn't. And I do think the IRS definitely has the ability to come back at a later date and say, this has been abused and we are going to right the wrong. Now, this does not diminish the importance of you taking advantage of Roth conversions during what I'm calling the greatest opportunity in the history of our country to do power of zero type planning. There are two sales going on right now. Tax rates have never been this low. We are in the midst of, as I describe in chapter 6 of the Power of Zero, the tax sale of a lifetime. Number two, there is a sale going on in the stock market as well. Remember, the cost of getting to the 0% tax bracket is you got to be willing to pay a tax. Why pay tax when the market goes back up to 29,000 when you could be paying tax when the market's at 24,000? So pay the tax at historically low tax rates when the market is depressed. Let those assets recover within the tax-free bucket. So even though this CRD Roth conversion opportunity is out there, I'm not a fan of it. You can do it, certainly. You're not going to go to jail. You do run the risk that the IRS could come back and reassess things, right? And possibly force you to pay taxes all in 1 year. So that's my take on it. So, but what is not undiminished is my enthusiasm for taking advantage of historically low tax rates and market valuations while they're down. So that's my story, and I am sticking to it. So once again, if you are looking for someone to help you navigate the path to 0% tax bracket, head over to davidmcknight.com. If you're an advisor looking to transition your practice to a true power of zero practice. By the way, if you are listening to this and you haven't listened to all my podcasts, there's a good podcast where I tell you how to recognize a true power of zero advisor. What are the hallmarks of a true power of zero advisor? And one of the great hallmarks of a true power of zero advisor is they are going to be able to, their recommendation typically has between 4 and 6 different streams of tax-free income. Could be a Roth conversion, could be a Roth 401k, could be a Roth contribution, could be taking monies out of your IRAs up to RMD, taking RMDs out of your IRAs up to standard deductions, could be an LIRP, could be your Social Security. But the point is, a true power of zero advisor loves all of those tax-free streams of income because they're all unique and they all do things that the other streams of tax-free income can't do. So if you're looking for a true power of zero advisor, head over to davidmcknight.com. If you want to become a true power of zero advisor, go over to powerzero.com. Again, if you want to subscribe to us, we're always appreciative of that. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, I am appreciative of that as well. So head over to Twitter at McKnight & at McKnight & Co is my handle. And stay tuned for more news for pre-ordering my new book, Tax-Free Income for Life. Very excited about that. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next time.